Get the unmissable news stories of the day.
This is the Beijing Hour.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Begum with you on this Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, coming to you live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, rescue efforts continue in Japan following the powerful earthquake in Kumamoto on Tuesday. The U.S. says it's intercepted Iran's surprise missile attack targeting American troops in the Middle East. China has a new 5-year plan to enhance public legal education and advance the rule of law. In business, high-end manufacturing and green energy help to boost China's logistics volume. In sports, France has unveiled the new head coach for its men's football team. In culture and entertainment, China's summer box office hit 6 billion yuan in ticket sales. Now the day's top stories. Rescue efforts are underway following an explosion at a shopping mall in southwest Japan, triggered by a powerful earthquake. Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi has confirmed 3 deaths in the blast. The 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Kumamoto on Tuesday. The government's confirmed that 13 people died in the quake as of Wednesday. He Xinlei with China Media Group reports from near the shopping mall.
This is the nearest location media can reach due to heavy damage ahead. You can see a security cordon here, and no one is allowed past this point. The road ahead is severely damaged and littered with debris. Local police told us the debris largely comes from building explosions after the earthquake. Numerous large red vehicles can be seen beneath the building. These are rescue vehicles working at the scene. Since the powerful quake on the 28th, the second floor of the shopping mall has collapsed badly, leaving multiple people trapped. We have yet to obtain exact figures of trapped people from local police, as rescue efforts continue.
That was He Xinlei from China Media Group reporting from near a shopping mall in Japan rocked by an explosion. The earthquake has damaged many homes in Kumamoto. Many local residents have recounted the moment when the quake hit.
My house has collapsed, though not completely destroyed. Inside and out, it's already a complete mess. Every 20 to 30 minutes, there's another noticeable aftershock. It's simply impossible to stay indoors. So everyone has no choice but to spend the night in their cars.
How can I describe it? It felt as if my body was floating in the air. For a moment, I couldn't react. It wasn't until I saw the walls collapsing that I suddenly realized an earthquake had struck. The scene was absolutely terrifying. The walls didn't collapse piece by piece. The entire structure came down all at once. I was terrified.
The disaster has caused power and water outages across the prefecture, disrupting daily life and impacting the operation of hospitals. Many medical institutions reported disruptions to the supply of medical oxygen and other essential medical gases. The hot weather has also complicated rescue efforts and conditions for evacuees, as daily high temperatures of at least 35 degrees Celsius are forecast in the coming days. Authorities have urged people to remain on alert for signs of heat stroke. Emergency response is underway after 3 earthquakes struck Shanghai province in northwest China. The quakes around Shanghai have damaged homes and roads across 7 townships in the county. No casualties have been reported so far. Rescue and medical teams arrived in the affected areas shortly after the tremors. Local authorities have set up 69 temporary shelters while water, electricity, and communication services remain operational. Experts say the tremors are part of a stress adjustment process along the same seismic fault zone driven by the ongoing compression from the Indian plate. Some residents say the second tremor felt much stronger than the first one. Shanghai Earthquake Agency Director Zheng Zhiwei explains the reason.
The epicenters of the 2 earthquakes were 0.9 kilometers apart. The nearest seismic fault is about 10 kilometers away. The 2 earthquakes differed in magnitude by only 0.1, forming an earthquake swarm. This is partly related to the relatively complex geological structure of the area. A difference of 1 magnitude represents an approximately 30-fold difference in energy. seismic energy increases exponentially with magnitude. Although the two earthquakes differed by only 0.1 in magnitude, the magnitude 5.8 earthquake released 1.4 times as much energy as the magnitude 5.7 quake, making the tremors feel stronger. The intensity of shaking felt by people is also affected by factors including focal depth and distance from the epicenter.
That was Shanghai Earthquake Agency Director Zheng Zhiwei. Tuesday marked the 50th anniversary of the devastating Tangshan earthquake in North China, which killed hundreds of thousands of people. The country has kept improving its disaster warning capabilities over the past decades. It now operates the largest earthquake early warning system in the world. While it cannot predict earthquakes, even a few seconds of advance warning can give people and emergency responders valuable time to take action. Ning Hong has details.
China's earthquake research now extends well beyond early warning, encompassing stronger building design, structural health monitoring, artificial intelligence, and the use of data collected from sensors, drones, and satellites. At an anniversary conference in Beijing, the Institute of Engineering Mechanics under the Chinese Earthquake Administration, together with 8 overseas universities, launched an international joint laboratory. The initiative brings together expertise in engineering, information science, data science, and social science.
It brings together earthquake engineering, data and information, and the social sciences on a multidisciplinary platform and builds an international network for cooperation.
The laboratory will study resilience theory, intelligent disaster prevention, and risk management. It will also support exchanges, training, and international projects, turning research into practical tools.
The critical thing China has done is integrating the various aspects of earthquake engineering, earthquake response, earthquake resilience. They've taken fundamental research, implemented it in practical ways, combined it with code, as well as with education. This is a very unique situation where you have different pieces of this puzzle that have all come together to improve the seismic resilience of our society.
From the devastation of Tangshan to today's comprehensive system of prevention and emergency response, the progress is clear. Stronger buildings, faster warnings, smarter analysis, greater public awareness, and more coordinated rescue efforts. No system can prevent an earthquake, but together these measures can turn precious seconds into life-saving action, transform research into practical protection, and keep people safer when disaster strikes.
That was Ning Hong reporting. Coming up, the U.S. says it thwarted a surprise attack from Iran.
French luxury brand Louis Vuitton won in court, but is it losing China? A trademark lawsuit against Chinese tea brand Mali Tea has ignited a nationwide debate over trademark rights, cultural heritage, and brand perception. Was this simply a legal battle or a costly strategic misstep? As Chinese consumers become more confident and culturally conscious, is the playbook for international luxury brands changing? And could this case reshape the French luxury brand's future in China? Join us for an in-depth discussion of the Louis Vuitton Mali Tea dispute on this week's Chat Lounge, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on CGTN Radio.
9 minutes past the hour. The U.S. military says it's intercepted all Iranian missiles during a surprise attack on American forces in the Middle East. U.S. media reports say that Tehran launched missiles at a U.S. base in Jordan. Iran has declared it'll not allow the Strait of Hormuz to return to its pre-conflict status. A senior Iranian diplomat says Iran's willing to resume fighting if necessary to assert its sovereignty over the strategic waterway. Oman's presented Iran with a proposal to manage the strait, which includes collecting voluntary fees for its use. The plan, backed by Gulf states, intends to serve as a basis for ending the trade disruptions caused by the ongoing conflict. But the U.S. has rejected any form of tolls or fees for vessels transiting the strait, insisting that it remains an international waterway. U.S. President Donald Trump has held separate high-stakes meetings with his Ukrainian counterpart and the Israeli Prime Minister at the White House, as the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the Middle East war are at a critical juncture. Nick Harper has more from Washington, D.C.
It's really put a strain on that personal relationship between the two leaders of the United States and of Israel. Of course, a very important alliance and, in the past, a strong personal relationship. But in recent months, there have been reports of angry phone calls between the two men. And in the last 24 hours, Donald Trump appeared on Fox News and was very clear in his frustration of the Israeli leader. However, photos posted after their meeting showed all smiles in the Oval Office between the two men. The White House saying that that meeting had been positive and productive, but didn't provide any details about what they had discussed or what they had agreed upon, because we've been hearing that the Israeli leader has been trying to urge the US president to continue the military conflict against Iran, to ramp it up, to escalate it and to even widen it. But of course, over the last few days, we have seen that pause in military activity after the US president was advised by people within the Trump administration, including the Vice President, J.D. Vance, that really military action was not the best cause, and also warnings that that US stockpile of munitions and missiles was running dangerously low. So potentially a frosty reception for the Israeli leader at a time when he's trying to urge the US president to do more in that conflict against Iran, something that poll after poll shows the majority of Americans are against. And interesting to note that while that relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu has cooled, we have seen a warming of relations between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky. The two men certainly haven't seen eye to eye in the past. There was that very acrimonious Oval Office meeting about a year and a half ago, just weeks after the US president returned to the White House. But many things have changed, and President Zelensky was here in Washington to try and shore up support from the United States to help Ukraine in that conflict with Russia. And amongst the things that President Zelensky wants, he says it's his top priority, are to get more Patriot interceptor missiles to stop that Russian barrage of missiles hitting Ukraine. President Zelensky even met today with the team at Lockheed Martin. Now, they are the defense company that make missiles that go into that Patriot interceptor defense missile system. He said that this was a good meeting. It was one of the strongest enterprises in the United States. And he said that they had discussed the joint production and technology exchange, because Donald Trump has pledged to allow Ukraine the license to produce their own Patriot missiles. But President Zelensky also urged on social media a return to diplomacy. He said it was time to reinvigorate diplomacy to try and end that more than 4-year conflict with Russia.
That was Nick Harper reporting. Palestinian villagers say the West Bank's approaching what they call a breaking point after a surge in violent attacks by Israeli settlers.
This area has become a target, with one structure after another being demolished. New structures are torn down every day. In recent days, Wales greenhouses were destroyed, and before that, industrial facilities, shops, and showrooms were also razed.
They say we are terrorists, but we are not terrorists. We don't even have a sharp knife to slaughter sheep in our homes. We don't attack them. They come in vehicles and reach our homes, but we don't resist them. We only have stones to defend ourselves with, nothing else.
If they want to continue like this, there will be an explosion. What else? We only live once, so when I see someone coming to kill me, how should I act? Should I serve him sweets?
Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz says Israel plans to expand the number of Jewish settlements in the West Bank. He says he's instructed the military to expand defensive operations in the region and prepare to take over another Palestinian refugee camp and evacuate its residents. Hamas has condemned Katz's call to destroy the camp, urging the international community to monitor Israeli actions and hold its leaders accountable. Protesters in Tel Aviv also took to the streets to demonstrate against settler violence in the West Bank.
I'm here today as a student organizer from Standing Together, here to protest against, not only protesting against settler violence, but protesting against our government who is backing it, funding it, supporting it.
The settlers, they are actually what they are doing is not because they are crazy individuals. They are doing horrific atrocities towards innocent Palestinians because this is the policy of the government.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has also condemned attacks by Israeli settlers in the West Bank. He called on Israeli authorities to take immediate and effective steps to prevent further attacks against Palestinians and their property. In southern Lebanon, a few families have begun returning to the village of Zatar al-Gharbia, the first handover under a U.S.-brokered pilot zone deal with Israel. Mahassin Faki is among them. Her home was destroyed in the recent war, but she vows to stay.
Every day, we traveled back and forth to Kfar Nabrak, a village in Mount Lebanon, returning here to check on our home and gather what remains of what we have collected over 45 years.
Well, this is the second war to devastate their house, and she can't afford repairs this time. The village is one of around 80 still occupied by Israel. Only 15 families have returned so far. Officials call the destruction immense, with nearly half of all homes completely destroyed. Israeli troops remain nearby, and drones still fly overhead. Lebanese and Israeli technical teams will hold more talks in Rome next week on expanding the pilot zone process. Coming up, China's new 5-year plan for legal education and the rule of law.
Discover the realities and responses to our changing climate with Climate Watch. Uncover critical issues such as the Masai Mara's disrupted wildebeest migration and the drop in the Panama Canal's water levels. Delve into solutions for a sustainable future. Tune in to Climate Watch on your favorite podcast platform. Become more eco-conscious and take action to protect our planet.
We're at 17 past the hour. China's unveiled a new 5-year plan to enhance public legal education and advance the rule of law. The initiative through 2030 aims to create a sound legal environment that supports the country's modernization drive. Huang Yue has details.
For tourists visiting the Great Wall, legal education is probably the last thing they expect to encounter. However, during the busy summer travel season, legal information and services are being provided alongside the site's traditional attractions, including English language assistance for overseas visitors.
It's the peak travel season, and Bottling is welcoming many international visitors who might have their own legal needs. Many overseas visitors value a strong sense of security, so we're also exploring ways to use the rule of law to provide greater protection for international tourists.
This is one example of China's broader efforts to make public legal education more targeted, practical, and accessible. China's newly unveiled 5-year plan for public legal education calls for greater focus on the evolving needs of businesses and innovation. The plan emphasizes raising legal awareness in areas such as foreign trade, cross-border investment, commercial dispute resolution, and international travel. It says China's public legal education system is expected to become more standardized, technology-driven, and widely accessible by the end of the decade.
During the next 5 years, we will focus on officials as one of the key groups, encouraging them to better understand and apply the law in their work. At the same time, we will work to improve legal literacy among the general public, promote respect for rules, and encourage people to turn to the law when they encounter problems or disputes.
China's first law dedicated to public legal education took effect last year, providing a legal framework for this work. Now, the new 5-year plan sets out how legal education will continue through 2030. It has a greater focus on making legal knowledge relevant to people's everyday lives. Policymakers say that is what effective legal education looks like, making sure people encounter the law in places and situations they really need it.
That was Huang Yue on China's new plan to advance the rule of law. For decades, enthusiasts in China have viewed classic cars as collectibles, but it was not a thriving industry. That may soon be changing, though. As the country moves to boost the automotive aftermarket, authorities are looking to turn this niche hobby into a new economic sector, with an estimated value of more than 10 billion yuan. And that's around 1.4 billion US dollars. Gao Junia takes a closer look.
Although China has led the world in vehicle production and sales for years, classic cars have long remained a niche pursuit, often stored away in private collections or displayed in museums. Compared with the more than 370 million vehicles currently on the road, China has only around 30,000 classic cars. Richard Zhang has spent more than a decade collecting vintage vehicles.
I've been deeply interested in cars since primary school. Up until now, I guess I've collected about 200 cars.
But preserving these automotive treasures is no easy task.
Classic cars require specialized restoration, not just simple part replacements. In China today, finding technicians who understand vintage engineering and sourcing authentic spare parts remains a major hurdle.
Beyond technical difficulties, collectors say regulatory barriers are an even bigger obstacle. Issues such as limits on road registration, a lack of official certification standards, and restrictions on trading and auctions have limited the growth of the classic car market. But that could soon change. As China works to expand the automotive aftermarket, authorities are taking steps to develop the industry, including establishing standards to define and recognize classic cars, while exploring pilot programs covering trading, ownership transfers, exhibitions, and related services. Lei Wenlong, chairman of the Shanghai Jiading Comprehensive Bounded Zone Development Corporation, says clear standards are the foundation for future growth.
Classic cars are not simply the same as vintage or antique cars. We need standards that fit China's own circumstances. Building those standards is the foundation for the industry's long-term development.
Efforts are also underway to bring classic cars into historic towns, commercial areas, and public events, creating more opportunities for business and cultural exchange. Li Xingying, general manager of Shanghai Jiading International Racing Service, says international collectors are already showing strong interest.
When overseas collectors hear about our pilot initiatives, they get very excited. Many want to bring their vintage cars to China for rallies, exhibitions, and public events. At the same time, we're actively building broader partnerships, including high-end auctions.
China's car culture has been growing alongside the rapid expansion of its auto industry. More Chinese collectors and enthusiasts are now taking part in globally recognized events, including the Goodwood Revival in the UK and the Pebble Beach Concourse Delegates in the US. For Richard Zhang, China is entering a key stage in developing its own automotive heritage.
China's modern auto industry took off in the 1980s, and today we're building our own heritage culture. We don't need to simply copy other countries. We are fully capable of creating a classic car culture uniquely our own.
As China moves to establish a mature automotive aftermarket, classic cars are emerging not only as collectors' treasures, but also as a new space for cultural and economic growth. For the Beijing Hour, this is Gao Junya.
European Commission says the fast-spreading fires in France and Spain have exceeded their capacity to respond, prompting calls for cross-border firefighting aid across member nations. Climate experts in France are warning that the extreme heat fueling the fires is the new reality. Sarah Coates spoke to experts and residents in Bordeaux to find out more.
Fire races through pine forests west of Bordeaux as crews work around the clock to stop it spreading further. John has lived here all his life, and watching his region burn has been devastating.
First it was mostly sadness, seeing the region I've been born and raised into basically go up into flames. And I mean, we've known for a long time that you have fires. It happens like almost every 2 years, something like that, but something that big.
For John, this disaster has hit very close to home. His brother and cousins are firefighters. He says some crews have worked for 2 days at a time without rest. Local farmers are also fighting back, using their own machinery to carve fire breaks through the forest. For John, the summers he's used to are gone.
When I was a kid, if you had a heat wave, it was like 33 degrees, something like that, and everyone was like, oh, it's going to last a few days, don't stay too long in the sun. That's it. Now it's like 40 plus, and it's every year now, so it's obvious that something is happening.
This region has always lived with fire, but what's changed is the heat it's putting out, the longer, hotter summers, and the flames that are becoming increasingly difficult to stop.
Aurelian Sebton is a climate expert. He's warning that fires like this are the new reality.
We must collectively understand that the world has changed and that what we thought was the future is now our present. We will have to make complete systemic changes.
And these kinds of disasters are becoming part of everyday life.
What seemed exceptional is now, unfortunately, the normality of the future. The event we are experiencing at the moment is of exceptional strength, but it will no longer be exceptional because it will repeat itself over and over again. Fires, floods, droughts. The truth is that normal life is what we are experiencing here.
For the hundreds of thousands of people who've had to flee, this is already their reality. And while firefighters may eventually bring this situation under control, the danger is only getting worse.
That was Sarah Coates in Bordeaux, France. Well, firefighters in Spain have a brief window to gain control of the wildfires raging in the country, with cooler temperatures and higher winds in the affected regions. But forecasters warn that a new heat wave and stronger winds will soon pose fresh challenges. Ken Brown reports from Avila.
The most destructive fire on record in Spain has reduced dozens of homes to ash here in Burguillos, Avila. In some cases, it's hard to tell if a house once even stood here. In others, there's no mistake.
We saw it coming since Wednesday, but they did nothing. They didn't come and put it out. The wind was fierce, so strong. Then suddenly, at 4 p.m. on Thursday, the flames were all around us. And we were out of here in 3 minutes. A hair's breadth from the fire. We only just escaped.
A popular summer vacation spot for families, this area is normally full of camps and water sports. Now the reservoir is being used by firebombers to refill their tanks. Nearby, we found a camping area still smouldering. Just last week, this campsite was full of happy holidaymakers enjoying their summer. Now it's yet another business destroyed by this wildfire. Luckily, everyone escaped on time here too. But while the focus is on the human tragedy, the loss in biodiversity has also been enormous.
The other side of the reservoir is a nature reserve. There are roe deer, wild boar, and there's a protected area for vultures higher up. The deer were dead on the road, and we had to drive around them. It's a horror story, just horrible, Dante-esque. Animals have a right to life too.
Communities are still in shock as the fires rage on almost a week later.
That was Ken Brown reporting from Spain. We're at 29 past the hour. Beijing will be getting clear skies overnight, but thunder showers are rolling in tomorrow. A low is 25. It's up to 33 on Thursday. Shanghai will be cloudy this evening, becoming overcast tomorrow. A low of 28 and a high of 38. Chongqing gets clouds overnight, overcast tomorrow. A low of 29 and a high of 39. Nanchang has thunder showers coming in this evening. It eases off to clouds tomorrow. A low of 26 and a high of 33. Laos is getting a light rain tonight. Showers tomorrow, a low of 14 and a high of 26 degrees. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see a light rainfall tonight, picking up to moderate rain tomorrow. It's down to 26 and then up to 34 on Thursday. Vientiane will see heavy rainfall this evening and through tomorrow with a low of 24 and a high of 30. Phnom Penh's getting heavy rainfall tonight and tomorrow, a low of 24 and a high of 30 degrees. It's time for a short break. So far this hour, rescue efforts continue in Japan following the powerful earthquake in Kumamoto on Tuesday. The U.S. says it's intercepted Iran's surprise missile attack targeting American troops in the Middle East. And China has a new 5-year plan to enhance public legal education and advance the rule of law. Shane Bigham with you. Stay with us here on the Beijing Hour.
The transition to a greener future is no longer a distant goal. It's happening now. In power plants, factories, farms, and cities across China. As the world grapples with climate change, energy security, and the growing demand for electricity, China is searching for new ways to cut emissions while keeping its economy moving. Across the country, our reporters visit renewable energy hubs, industrial centers, and agricultural communities to see what that transformation looks like in practice. Through first-hand stories and on-the-ground reporting, we explore the opportunities, the challenges, and the ideas shaping China's green transition. Listen to China's Green Code, Rewriting the Rules of Growth, a special series from Climate Watch, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Wednesday. Still to come. In business, high-end manufacturing and green energy help boost China's logistics volume. In sports, France has unveiled the new head coach for its men's football team. In culture and entertainment, China's summer box office hit 6 billion yuan in ticket sales. To contact us, you can email radio@cgtn.com or follow our X account @CGTNradio. You're also welcome to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, Beyond Beijing, for the world's biggest stories, along with sharp insights and exclusive analysis. But now with the check of the day's headlines, here's Tianyu.
Thank you, Shane. Chinese President Xi Jinping has congratulated Carlos Villanova on his re-election as president of Sao Tome and Principe. President Xi says the two sides have continued to deepen political mutual trust, firmly supported each other on issues concerning their respective core interests and major concerns, and achieved notable results in cooperation. He expressed readiness to work with President Nova to take the implementation of the outcomes of the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation as an opportunity to continuously elevate the bilateral strategic partnership to new heights and better benefit both peoples. A Chinese mainland spokesperson has slammed the Democratic Progressive Party authorities in Taiwan for rejecting the entry applications of a Shanghai delegation to Taipei. The delegation had planned to attend the ceremony marking the public debut of 2 rat pandas gifted by the Shanghai Zoo to the Taipei Zoo. State Council Taiwan Affairs Office spokesperson Chen Binghua said the DPP's move fully exposes its separatist nature and confrontational mindset.
The Shanghai Taipei City Forum, as an important institutionalized exchange platform between the two cities, has played a positive role in promoting cross-sectoral exchanges and cooperation, with tangible results widely recognized. The arrival of the red pandas in Taiwan was warmly welcomed by our compatriots in Taiwan. However, the DPP authorities went so far as to unreasonably obstruct and reject the participation of personnel sent by the Shanghai side in the meeting ceremony. This fully exposes their separatist nature and confrontational mindset, and we condemn this act. The DPP authorities' repeated obstruction and restriction of normal cross-strait exchanges and cooperation, as well as their disruption of cross-strait relations, run completely counter to the mainstream public opinion in Taiwan and will surely be opposed and rejected by the people in Taiwan.
The 2 rat pandas are part of the agreements reached at a 2024 Shanghai Taipei City Forum on the exchange and conservation of rat pandas. China has voiced strong dissatisfaction and firm opposition after the U.S. Department of Defense placed several Chinese research institutions on a sanctions list. The Ministry of Commerce says China will take necessary measures to protect the legitimate rights and interests of the affected institutions. It says the U.S. has overstretched the concept of national security and politicized scientific cooperation. It says the move undermines bilateral scientific exchanges and runs counter to the global trend of international collaboration in innovation. China has welcomed a ruling by the WTO against Turkey's restrictive measures on Chinese vehicles. The WTO panel report backed China's claims that Turkey's EV tariffs and licensing rules on Chinese electric, hybrid, and other vehicles violate global trade rules. The Chinese Commerce Ministry urged Turkey to respect the ruling, saying the restrictions imposed since 2023 have severely harmed bilateral trade ties. And finally, China has issued a new action plan to boost traditional Chinese medicine services at the grassroots level. The plan includes 7 key initiatives and 25 major tasks, from expanding service networks to growing the TCM workforce. By 2030, the goal is wider access to TCM care, stronger county-level hospitals, and greater public awareness of TCM health practices. The push comes as part of broader efforts to meet growing demand for traditional medical services across the country.
All right, thank you very much. That's Tianyu with headlines. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, and coming up in business, high-end manufacturing and green energy help to boost China's logistics volume.
The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
At 36 past the hour, stock markets on the Chinese mainland closed higher on Wednesday. The Shanghai Composite was up around 0.4%. The Shenzhen Component gained over 1.1%. Gaming and educational shares led the gainers. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index rose nearly 2%. Japan's Nikkei dropped almost 1.5%. China's total logistics volume grew by more than 5% in the first half of the year, driven largely by rising demand for high-end manufactured goods and green energy products. Data from the Federation of Logistics and Purchasing shows that logistics demand across the new energy and vehicle supply chain rose 6%. In June alone, that figure surged nearly 30% from a year earlier. On the consumer side, growth was fueled by electronics and energy-efficient home appliances. On the industrial front, demand for semiconductor materials and lithium batteries was among the key drivers. China's top intellectual property regulator authorized more than 453,000 patents in the first half of the year and approved over 2 million trademark registrations. The National Intellectual Property Administration says the quality of patent filings has increased substantially. By the end of June, high-value invention patents reached nearly 2.4 million, marking an improvement in China's innovation capability, while the number per 10,000 people rose to 16.8. The services sector accounts for nearly 1/3 of the registered trademarks. According to the administration, new generation information technology, including artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and big data, accounted for 16.5% of valid invention patents as of the end of June. The strategic emerging industry makes up over 70% of China's total high-value invention patents. And for more on China's patent protection, Lily Liu spoke with He Jingjing, an associate professor at the Institute of International Law at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences.
So what patent indicators in the first half of the year do you think directly reflect the improvement of China's innovation capacity?
I think the most important direct indicator is the steady growth of high-value invention patents. By the end of June, China held more than 2 million high-value invention patents, showing China's continued improvement of innovation capacity. It is not just about the increase in number, but also more importantly in quality, especially in the following two aspects are really worth noting. One is that there's a big increase in the technological innovation, the enterprises. So it takes a more important role in the total percentage of the patents. Secondly, we've seen more patents in the next generation information technologies, such as AI, cloud computing, and big data, which shows the future. So I think it's quite clear that China has improved greatly in terms of innovation, and IP.
So what core challenges will China face in advancing high-standard intellectual property protection during the 15th Five-Year Plan period?
That's a very good question. I think one big challenge is whether China's IP system, including the legal system and protection capacity, can keep pace with the technological innovation and industrial development. As discussed just now, in the new age, especially powered by AI and data, a lot of innovation are actually AI generated. So in the past, we built our IP protection system around the people, which means that all the innovation, all the ideas are from people. And now we've seen more and more AI generated products. So how about the ownership of AI generated products? Can we apply the same laws to protect the AI generated products? And also, how about the allocation of rights and responsibilities among developers, operators, and users? Those are new issues to be discussed. Another big challenge is actually with AI and with the models, especially open source models going broad. We've seen more and more requests for international collaboration. A lot of protection efforts need to be cross-border. A lot of infringements of the rights actually occur online and may involve multiple regions, platforms, or even jurisdictions. So it actually poses quite a big challenge for the law enforcement and also for the protection of IP. So these are big challenges we have to face in the new age.
That was Associate Professor He Jingjing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences talking about China's patent protection and innovation capacity. MSCI has announced inclusion of Chinese memory chipmaker CXMT into its China All Shares Index following the company's massive IPO. The move on August 10th will put it directly on the radar of global institutional investors. The MSCI China All Shares Index is a benchmark that includes A shares, B shares, and foreign-listed Chinese companies. It measures the full range of China's stocks that are available to international investors based on MSCI's global index rules. The high-altitude variant of China's C919 passenger jet has successfully completed its maiden flight test, marking a significant milestone in the aircraft family's development. The test flight took place at Shanghai Pudong International Airport, with all scheduled tasks accomplished as planned. Built upon the standard C919 model, the variant features design modifications, including a shortened fuselage and enhanced system functions. They're tailored to meet the operational demands of high-altitude airports. Under Chinese civil aviation regulations, airports situated at 2,438 meters or above are designated as high-altitude airports. As a key member of the C919 family, the variant's configured to carry 140 to 160 passengers, and its takeoff and landing capabilities are designed to serve all of China's high-altitude airports. Industry insiders say the high-altitude variant has filled up a gap in the sector for domestically produced passenger aircraft. The Hainan Free Trade Port is doubling down on a blue and low-carbon economy by leveraging its unique marine and geographical advantages. Lin Hua has more.
Hainan is steadily advancing clean energy projects. The Datangdanzhou 1.2 gigawatt offshore wind farm is a key provincial demonstration project. It is expected to generate 3.66 billion kilowatt per hour of electricity annually upon completion. This would save 1.1 million tons of standard coal and reduce carbon dioxide emissions by 2.87 million tons each year.
By leveraging multi-energy complementarity to drive industrial integration, we have achieved zero carbon target for on-site office buildings. Moreover, we have built 3 agrivoltaic and aquavoltaic PV stations, creating a multi-energy complementary clean energy base that integrates solar, thermal, storage, and comprehensive energy solutions.
By the end of 2025, the province's total installed power capacity reached approximately 25 gigawatts. Clean energy accounted for 87%. Newly added capacity comes mainly from renewables such as wind and solar power. Hainan has essentially established the new power system dominated by clean energy. A robust domestic green energy foundation has laid a solid ground for Hainan's cross-border green cooperation. It has transformed the free trade port's ecological strengths into international collaborative advantages. This June, the ASEAN-China Environmental Cooperation Week 2026 was held in Hainan under the Green Cooperation Framework of the China-ASEAN FTA 3.0. Hainan proactively extended opportunities in green industries and the circular economy, steadily fostering tangible regional environmental partnerships.
We hope to expand cooperation in blue carbon, work with ASEAN countries on marine plastic pollution control, jointly carry out blue carbon restoration in coastal wetlands, explore cross-border carbon credit trading, and unlock the cooperative dividends of the marine ecosystem.
Hainan's port-related green shipping industry is also accelerating its upgrade. The core hub of the free trade port, Yangpu Port, aggregates key resources. These include shipping routes, vessels, and trade. Yangpu extends the port shipping industrial chain, continuously enhances international shipping services, and positions itself as a blue open gateway. According to Hainan's Marine Economy Development Plan, by 2030, the marine sector is expected to account for over 55% of the province's GDP. And by 2035, Hainan aims to become one of China's core hubs for deep-sea technology innovation, with the marine economy surpassing 50% of the province's total economic output.
That was Linwalt reporting. SK Hynix shares traded in Seoul closed more than 9.6% lower on Wednesday after the company reported earnings fell short of investor expectations. The memory chip maker posted a record second quarter operating profit of 60 trillion won, or roughly $42 billion US. The figure was more than a six-fold surge on a yearly basis, yet it still missed Wall Street forecasts. Sentiment took a further hit over concerns that the company's growing dependence on long-term supply contracts could limit potential gains from rising memory chip prices, even as demand surges amid the AI boom. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, France has unveiled the new head coach of its men's football team.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story Podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
47 past the hour now. Turning to sports, and here's Yang Guang.
Thank you, Shane. France has appointed World Cup winner and Ballon d'Or recipient Zinedine Zidane as the national team's new head coach through 2030. The former Real Madrid manager succeeds Didier Deschamps, whose 14-year tenure ended after France finished fourth at the World Cup. Deschamps guided Le Bleu to the 2018 World Cup title and lives as one of the most successful coaches in the nation's history. Zidane, a key figure in France's 1998 World Cup triumph alongside then-captain Deschamps, says leading his country has always been his ultimate coaching ambition.
For me today, it's simply a continuation, in a way a dream. What I can tell you is that over the last 4 or 5 years since I stopped coaching Real Madrid, I've received offers to take over clubs, and I turned them all down for the French national team. Because for me, the French national team was the only thing I wanted to do, and I will give everything I have to ensure that this team keeps winning. That's the only thing that drives me, being able to work for this French national team and helping it continue to win.
Zidane is set to begin his reign with the UEFA Nations League away match against Turkey on September 25th, before making his home debut against Italy a week later. Italy, meantime, has turned to a familiar face in a bid to revive the national team, appointing Roberto Mancini as head coach for a second spell in charge of the Azzurri. The 61-year-old replaces Gennaro Gattuso, who stepped down after Italy failed to qualify for a third straight FIFA World Cup. Mancini previously managed Italy from 2018 to 23, guiding the team to the Euro 2020 title, their biggest success since winning the 2006 World Cup. Now, the former Inter Milan and Manchester City boss faces the challenge of rebuilding Italy into a major force in international football. He will also need to restore the confidence of supporters following his sudden registration in 2023 before a brief stint as Saudi Arabia coach. Mancini's appointment comes after Italy reportedly conceded several other high-profile candidates, including Carlo Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola and Andrea Pirlo, before ultimately bringing back the coach who last delivered international silverware for the Azzurri. In shooting, China celebrated another strong performance at ISSF World Cup in Hangzhou, taking gold and silver in the 10-meter air rifle mixed team events. Olympic champions Shen Lihao and Wang Zifei edged teammates Du Yuchen and Zhang Chanhong by just 0.4 points after a tightly contested final. The victory marked Shen's second gold medal of the tournament following his triumph in the men's individual events. Shen says he's already looking ahead to improving in another discipline.
To improve in the 50-meter rifle event, I need to spend much more time on training than I do now. It will require a heavy workload and make the training process more challenging.
Wang Zifei says staying calm under pressure was the key to success.
With only 50 seconds, there's no time to overthink. The bad thing I can do is stay focused and handle each shot step by step. This has been a great learning experience for me. I'm still working on finding my best form, but this competition has given me valuable experience and helped me gain a clearer direction for the future.
Meanwhile, China added another medal in the mixed team trap event with Sun Yulong and Qi Ying taking silver. Australia claimed the gold by 37 hits to 35, setting a new World Cup final record. In tennis, China's Wang Xinyu is through to the second round of the WTA Mubadala DC Open. Wang defeated 17-year-old American qualifier Julieta Pareja in straight sets. The world number 42 saved 3 set points before winning the opening set tiebreak and went on to seal a straight set victory. The 2023 French Open women's doubles champion will next face Lyudmila Samsonova. There was disappointment for fellow Chinese player Zheng Qingwen. The Olympic champion took the opening set against the Philippines' Alexandra Ayala, but could not hold on after 3 sets. Ayala advances to face defending champion Leila Fernandez in the second round. On the men's side, Spain's Rafael Nadal rallied from an early break to defeat France's Arthur Fils in the opening round. The 19-year-old, who has enjoyed a breakthrough season on the ATP Tour, moves on to face Japan's Kei Nishikori. And finally, the FIVB Men's Volleyball Nations League finals get underway in Ningbo on Wednesday, with host China set to face Japan in the quarterfinals. China completed its final training session ahead of the match, focusing on serving drills and scrimmages. Middle blocker Zhang Zhejia returns to the 14-man squad as China looks to improve on last year's 8th-place finish when the team was eliminated in the quarterfinals. The two sides met once during this year's preliminary stage, with Japan winning 3-1. China qualified for the finals as the host nation and will be hoping home support can help spark an upset. Head coach Vital Hinen says the players are feeling the pressure but are eager to perform.
They are a bit nervous. It's normal. You play the quarterfinal for home public, so you feel that the players are a bit nervous and they want to give, it will be a very difficult match, but we still want to show some good things.
The winner of the quarterfinal will advance to the semi-finals as China looks to make its deepest run yet in the Men's Nations League finals.
All right, thank you very much. That's Yang Guang with sports. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, and coming up in culture and entertainment, China's summer box office hit 6 billion yuan in ticket sales.
Pod Plus, a selection of the best podcasts in China, covering history, customs, music, literature, and in-depth dialogues. Find your way to a wealth of Chinese culture and thinking, all on Pod Plus.
At 52 past the hour. In culture and entertainment, China's summer movie season continues to gather momentum, with the box office surpassing 6 billion yuan, or nearly $887 million US. According to ticketing platform Maoyan, the milestone also lifted China's total box office for the year above 21.7 billion yuan. The summer holiday has long been one of the country's busiest periods for cinemas, with more than 120 domestic and international films on the schedule for the season. Leading the box office are a number of Chinese productions, including Kung Fu Soccer and the animated comedy All Wishes Come True. The strong box office performances underscore the continued appeal of Chinese-made films and the importance of the summer season for the country's film industry. China's box office in 2026 has so far exceeded 21 billion yuan, or roughly $3 billion US. And Guangdong province continues its box office dominance following its 2025 annual crown. Zheng Songwu reports.
As the largest movie consumption market in China, Guangdong's box office has been leading since the Spring Festival holiday in February this year. As of Tuesday, it has surpassed 3 billion yuan, or about $450 million since January.
We
are frequent moviegoers and keep a close eye on new releases. We particularly enjoy films like Kung Fu Soccer for their nostalgic appeal. Movies that highlight local culture rooted in Guangdong also attract us a lot.
Among the 28 movies that hit 100 million yuan at box office, 6 of them are Guangdong produced, generating a box office of 5.7 billion yuan or $800 million, accounting for nearly 27% of China's total. DAU, which is about the remittance letters between overseas Chinese and their families back home, or Kung Fu Soccer, directed by Stephen Chow, are the 2 most popular ones with viewers.
During the Spring Festival box office season, family-friendly films were the most popular. Then, in April, Dear You came out, which also centered on family relationships. Looking at the entire first half of 2026, the biggest hits all had strong ties to family. They resonated with audiences through those emotional family bonds.
In 2025, Guangdong authorities released 15 policies to support local films from creation, production to screening, and spent over $20 million in supporting the rewards for outstanding films. The cinemas in Guangzhou also offered Cinema Plus activities for audiences.
In early July, the National Film Administration issued a policy encouraging cinemas to try new business models. During the World Cup, we held 8 screening events at our cinema. Each event had more than 100 viewers. This helped boost ticket sales.
Guangdong has also deepened ties with Hong Kong and Macau through film events. These included the Hong Kong International Film and TV Market, industry gatherings in Guangzhou, and TV conferences in Shenzhen. These efforts are making the Greater Bay Area a big hub for China's film industry.
That was Zhang Songwu reporting. An exhibition featuring nearly 1,000 cultural relics from China's 10th century, 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period has opened at the Zhejiang Provincial Museum. It offers visitors a rare look at one of the country's most turbulent yet culturally significant eras. The exhibition brings together treasures from nearly 100 museums and cultural institutions across China, making it the largest national showcase ever dedicated to this period. Alongside priceless artifacts, visitors can also explore original costumes, props, and immersive digital displays inspired by popular historical drama Swords into Plowshares. Organizers say the exhibition transforms the public's enthusiasm for the television series into a deeper exploration of history, allowing audiences to connect with the stories behind the artifacts and better understand the era's pursuit of peace and national unity. The exhibition runs through June 20th of next year. We're at 57 past the hour. Beijing getting clear skies overnight, but thunder showers roll in tomorrow, a low of 25, and it's up to 33 on Thursday. Shanghai will see cloudy skies overnight, becoming overcast, a low of 28 and a high of 38. Chongqing, much the same, clouds becoming overcast, a low of 29, a high of 39. Nanchang will see thunder showers tonight, becoming cloudy tomorrow, a low of 26 and a high of 33 degrees. Lass is getting a light rainfall tonight, becoming showers tomorrow, a low of 14 and a high of 26. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see a light rainfall tonight, becoming moderate rain tomorrow, a low of 26 and a high of 34 on Thursday. That's it for this edition of the Beijing Hour. Making news today, rescue efforts continue in Japan following the powerful earthquake in Kumamoto on Tuesday. And the U.S. says it's intercepted Iran's surprise missile attack targeting American troops in the Middle East. On behalf of the staff, this is Shane Bigham in the Chinese capital, hoping you'll join us for the next edition of the Beijing Hour and open a window to the world together.
The best military commander is not he who fights 100 battles and wins every one of them. The best military strategy does not lead to the desiccation of the enemy's capital city. Decoding the Art of War will help you understand why there's no art in war and how Sun Tzu stayed undefeatable using the science of war, with fun stories and insightful breakdown of famous battles. Find Decoding the Art of War wherever you listen.
A poem for the Tibetan antelope, the gentle spirit of the Shanghai Seazon Plateau, spoken by voices from across the world. Every spring, female antelopes migrate hundreds of miles to Zhuonai Lake to give birth, as we build gentle passages for their journey.
Hello, little Tibetan antelope. Eyes opening to the light for the very first time.
To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower.
So much wonder calls for so much courage. But have no fear. The way home is right there, waiting for you.
From the snows of Kunlun to the winds of Tangula, the wilderness will teach me to be strong.
But the call of life itself never ceases.
A train runs toward the horizon. A road stretches through the wilderness.
The bridge that soars through the clouds is no barrier across the land, but a gateway to where I truly belong.
Tibetan antelope's hoofprints loosen the soil, letting snow melt sink into the earth.
Human presence passes through,
but we've never walked this land alone.